Meeting with Mayor Robert Odeker presiding on November 30th, 2020 at 5:30.
Mayor Odeker,
Here.
Councilman Dickinson, Councilwoman Gavin,
Here.
Councilman Hug,
Here.
Councilman Morris,
Here.
Councilman Ledren,
Here.
Councilwoman Coleman,
Here.
Councilman Beard,
Here.
Councilman Sherrill.
Here.
First on the agenda this evening is citizens to be heard on agenda items. First, we have Damon Root. And 1 moment to, he's in the other side of the.
Right, does someone need to bring him over?
Damon?
My collar's not up, taking pictures of us.
Hello, my name is Damon Stunich, 430 North Center Street. I don't know if you can you hear me
Yes,
clear enough? Okay. I'm not sure, I thought this was an agenda item, the appointment of a new city councilman. Am I correct?
yes,
Okay.
it'll be up tomorrow, yes.
Okay. Again, 430 North Center Street, I was a candidate for District 4. Ran against Betty Gavin, ran a good race. I think Betty will attest to the fact that I ran a very clean race. I'm representing a group of independent, lifelong Joliet residents and voters who have joined to support candidates, have joined up to support candidates for the at-large seats for the Joliet City Council election that is going to happen in a very quick 5 months. Our group is not affiliated with either council faction, I'll have you know. We understand that our city ordinance and the binding state statutes requires the mayor to fill any vacancy on the city council within 60 days upon the date of the resignation of that council person. This appointment must be confirmed by the city council or with the advice and consent of a majority of the city council, I should say. This does not mean the city council must approve the mayor's selection or even vote to fill the vacancy. Our group has a different viewpoint. It is our collective view that the city council should not fill this seat, but keep it vacant as the voters of the city of Joliet have elected a new at-large person this coming April. There are a number of reasons for this recommendation. Again, the city council election is 5 months away, a short 5 months. The voters elected Mr. Dickinson. The voters should elect his replacement. The city council is more than capable of voting on matters that are brought before them. There are 7 current council members. From my understanding, the mayor only votes in the event of a tie vote. With 7 current members, we're going to rarely, if ever, have a tie. We acknowledge that Joliet has seen several city council replacements before. As recently, the mayor, just a few years ago, appointed Brooke Hernandez Brewer, I believe, to fill Jim McFarland's spot. That was for 7 months. Let's see, John Girl is elected, or not elected, he was appointed 10 years ago to fill the seat of Tony Uremovic for a period of 7 months. And then I think about 7 years ago, Betty was appointed to fill the position of Susie Barber. And that appointment was for 12 months. This is much shorter, a quick 5 months away, and we're going to have a new city council in place to make those decisions. Our group has spoken to many voters in the city. They are anxious to participate in the upcoming election. They support our viewpoint to keep this vacant. We urge the city council to do the same. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Next is Greg Pierbel.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. Greg Pierbel, representing the Joliet Area Historical Museum, and I'm here tonight specifically representing Kenneth and Irene Odorizzi of 1314 Elizabeth Street. in regard to Council Memo dash 625-20. I just wanted to give you an overview of this project. Happy to tell you that this is something, you kind of see, the museum's starting a new project and oh wow, what a time to do that. But the project goes back 2.5 years now when Mr. Roderizzi reached to Steve Jones at the time, indicating he had a family property that was a former Slovenian meat market and family residence that dates back to 1929, just off Broadway Street, Old Route 66, on Russell and Elizabeth Street, and that he was interested in establishing a museum property experience. So Steve kicked that over to us. We spoke for probably the better part of a year. Then at that time, the prison operations really started stepping up, so we kind of fell out of contact. And actually it reached Mr. Roderizzi, they live and rest in Virginia currently. In the Washington Post, there was a long article about the efforts at the prison, and he picked it up and said, wow, and called back and said, I really want to get this going again. I hope we can reestablish contact and make this happen. So within the past 3 or 4 months, we've discussed this at the board level. We've produced documentation with the understanding that this isn't just a building that's going to the museum. There are 3 kind of buckets of funding involved, if you will. So funding to fix up the building, kind of get it up to contemporary standards, funding to put physical exhibits inside the building, most importantly, funding that is going to see to long-term operations in the form of an endowment or endowment-style mechanism where we can reliably get funds from the couple every year to see to the operation. So it's something I think they understand, and I think it's a really huge land-giving opportunity for the museum. The couple does not have children or dependent heirs, so this is part of a broader estate plan. And I will say that they are interested in making some financial moves by the end of this year to take advantage of certain tax incentives, which are going to expire at the end of the year. So with that, I'm just here to answer questions about it now or when the motion is discussed. Thank you.
I just want to say, I think it's a great opportunity for the museum, so thank you for being aggressive. I know when I first was elected, we challenged the Rialto and the museum to look for alternate sources of money and funding, and I compliment you for doing that, for being aggressive.
Thank you, Mayor. Appreciate it.
Any questions? Okay.
Actually, I visited the pre-museum, if you will, just last week, and the place is amazing. I mean, it's like they just left it in time. It's a time capsule. There's still clothes hanging and slippers under the bed, and I think it'll be a real asset and a great moneymaker, especially since it's right off Route 66. So just another asset for Joliet to.
Right, and Councilman, I know you're involved in kind of going to other Slovenian groups, and we think, I think it's fair to say we have a great deal of enthusiasm from potential partners, sponsors, visitors,
Yes, we do
KSKJ,
contact.
St. Joe's, Women's Union. So we kind of lined up those partnerships too to be ready here quickly. So
Yeah,
we're
so
excited about it.
the Slovenian Museum down in Chicago Street, they have plenty of volunteers that are gonna help as well. So that'll be an extra plus for not to overburden the staff that we already have at the museum. So it's a win-win for everybody.
Great
I
opportunity.
agree. Thank you, everyone.
Good. Thank you.
Yep.
No one else registered to be called to speak, and we received no other emails under citizens to be heard on agenda items. So next will be the interim city manager.
Well, 1 second, Mayor.
Yes.
I wanted to clarify something. One speaker, Mr. Zinovic, if I'm pronouncing it, Zinovich, had mentioned, there's a misconception. You are not simply allowed to vote, my understanding of the statute. You're allowed to vote in ties. You're allowed to vote in any vote where the outcome can be affected. So technically, if it's a 4-3 vote, you're allowed to vote, and then we're back to a tie. I want people to understand that's how it works.
Right, and it's the same thing with some of the other issues where it's a 2/3 vote.
6, yeah.
Yeah. So,
Right.
Right.
But actually, I don't think people realize, and for several years, going back a few years, I thought the same thing, that only ties. I believe the statute reads the mayor in this form of government can vote when his vote will affect the outcome.
Right.
So,
One more thing I'd like to correct.
Yes.
Our ordinance says that we have to put a new person in place within 60 days. So that doesn't allow us to have another quick election for the people to choose someone. And that's what's happened all along. Our ordinance states at 60 days that we have to seat somebody in that position until the next election or within 60 days. And since the election's so close, that's why it's being done this way.
Right, and then, again, as we're talking about, I did not nominate someone who's pulling petitions, and I spoke with Mr. Wooten, and he'll be available tomorrow but, he's not gonna pull petitions, so I didn't want to influence the next election anyway, but yeah, we clearly need to fill that seat on the council.
All right.
Next, the interim city manager will discuss tomorrow's items.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Along with the appointment of Councilman at Large, we've got some Historic Preservation Commission appointments, some council meeting minute approvals, and then moving on to item 624, excuse me, is a vacation of an alleyway approximately 12 by 84 feet between two homes at 418 Madeline Street, south of 127 Pleasant Street, and north of 129 Pleasant Street. Appraisals have been performed on the property, has an approximate value of $800. And this vacation should not have any impact to the surrounding properties or the houses accessing their homes or their garages from any other location.
Question, Mayor.
Yes,
Jim, so these two homes obviously are parallel to each other, I'm imagining,
Yes.
across the alley, so probably at the end of the alley, possibly?
Well, it's just the two homes, and
Yeah.
it goes between them to another location where it's another alley that dead ends to people's garages.
Okay, and
So
these
it's-
two homes are taking ownership of the alley?
That's right. They would
Okay.
split down the middle and each take half of the property.
Okay, thank you.
Yes. Greg Pierbel just reviewed item 625 for you, which is the approval of a special use permit to allow a public museum at 1314 Elizabeth Street. As you know, they're working on financial assistance from the family to make this happen. They're proposing tearing down a small two-car garage in the back and constructing an 1,150 square foot garage that would provide bathrooms and kitchenette for visitors and house 3 vintage cars in there as well. They're anticipating being open 4 days a week, hours 10 to 5 p.m. And they do want to maintain the existing rear apartment unit as potential future rental for somebody to watch over the premises as well. They're only anticipating 4 to 10 visitors at any one time because it's not a huge place like the regular museum. Also, in dealing with parking, they've got the Rivals Haunted Trails. They're near, just across the street, and there's parking over there, and they're in negotiations with them right now. Otherwise, there would be street parking available. Any questions? Moving on to item 626 is a approval of a 40-acre plat by the petitioner's Cobalt Commercial Subdivision. And this is at the northeast corner Route 59 Theodore. There's approximately 40 acres there. And the preliminary and final plats were respectively approved in late 2019 to early 2020 already. But IDOT wanted them to move and adjust the first entrance into Cobalt Drive from Route 59, shifting it north about 85 feet. So you still have 9 lots here for future development from an acre to 15 acres. Some of it being considered for multi-family use, which would be on the east side adjacent to the existing single-family use, but that would require them to come back at a future date and get special use permit from the city as well. Questions? Moving on to item 627 is a gas and wash at Theodore and Droughton subdivision. This is the preliminary and final plat and recording plats. and a special use permit to allow a car wash as an accessory use. So the construction, the city.
Conference will automatically end in 5 minutes.
The construction has already been approved for the fueling station, and that's under construction. What we're looking at is the special use permit for the park, or the car wash in there. I know that some members of council have been contacted about the landscaping here, so I've put up there as a slide for everyone to take a look at. They submitted this with their plan when they got the permit for the construction of the gas station. It's a 3-foot high berm with various ornamental shrubs and trees in accordance with our code, our zoning ordinance. What you don't see on this map, though, is the area in the middle where the car wash will be going through. That map and the location of the car wash is provided in the backup for your agenda material as well, though. So staff will make sure that this is not only properly screened, but lighting is screened from adjacent neighborhoods and focused down on the area that's being considered here.
I'd like to, we did speak today about this, and
Yes.
I just want to reiterate the fact that I did speak to many of our staff members, including engineers, inspectors, to make sure that the plat that their plan they're presenting is carried out to the fullest extent, and it is exactly what they said they will do, including the lighting, to make sure that the lighting is not imposing beyond the property. And if it is, there will be things they'll have to change in order to take care of that problem. So.
Thank you. Moving on to item 629 is a professional services agreement with the Lakota Group. And what we're looking for here are some guidelines for our Historical Preservation Committee, because we have 130 locally designated historic properties. And whenever a property owner wants to alter or change or demolish part of that property, they need to obtain a certificate of appropriateness from the Joliet Historical Preservation Commission. So the Preservation Commission wants to establish comprehensive historic design guidelines, and this will also assist our residents because we can share that with them and they can share it with their designer or architect when they're undertaking some sensitive rehabilitations to keep the character of the historic community. Right now, we don't have these guidelines in place, which can also cause a delay in the permitting process. And this will make the approval process be a much smoother in the submittal and review process. So it'll be a lot more predictable in the permitting. And this design manual can be utilized because we have over 11,000 homes built before 1950, 352 in the Upper Bluffs National Register and 257 in the East Side National Register of Historic District. We did go to professional services and submitted for 9 architectural design firms that have some experience in this area in the Chicago region. We got 3 quotes, and the Lakota Group was the staff's best proposal in terms of the desired scope of work for the project and the most relevant experience. Because it was a quote rather than a bid, they were able to go back and get them to revise their quote and get it reduced to almost $12,000. Any questions? Item 630 is a Phase 2 engineering appropriation funding for Garsney Avenue Bridge over Spring Creek improvements. And 631 is an annual agreement that we have with PACE for pari-mutuel services. This is a curb-to-curb advanced registration bus service for eligible persons here in Joliet. Our share is approximately $116,000, but we do get reimbursed from the federal government under Title 20 grant. Rest of the agenda contains award of contracts. I'll just point out a couple of significant ones. First and foremost is awarding the PACE bus station and turnaround to Madison Construction Company, $8,873,347, which is below what was anticipated. The other big one I think that people don't pay attention to is item 634, is the annual purchase of salt, $46.93 per ton. We purchase a minimum of 8,000 ton. It's approximately 470,000, and we can purchase up to 12 ton at that rate as well. So a lot of money goes into keeping Joliet city streets clear that people take for granted, as often they do with city services, but it can cost a lot of money. That's all I have, Mayor, unless anybody has any questions about the agenda.
Any questions? Then briefly, under new business, as I said earlier, Mr. Wooten is going to be here tomorrow. He's going to address the council, and then he'll be available to answer any questions if you have for him. And I do want to thank him for showing interest and allowing himself to get involved, because immediately, as we all know, you start getting attacked when you show interest for public office. So, but yeah, he'll be here tomorrow, so we can have a discussion. Again, if you have any questions for him, please bring it to the council chambers tomorrow so we can vet it.
Next is public comments. First is Gilberto Morales.
Hi, good evening. I'm a resident of 5922 Glass Point Circle, and that's right adjacent to item number 627, the gas and wash station. Our fence is literally less than 100 feet from this construction, and we are concerned that the plan that they have with the landscaping is not enough to conceal their business. This is completely disturbing our peace. It's way too close for our comfort. We believe the landscape alone is not going to do the job. Should be something taller, higher than 3 feet than what is proposed. We believe that in addition to that, it should be some kind of wall, a tall wall as well. And we've been talking to their attorney for the gas station to have some mitigations for us in terms of building a fence in our side of Drodden, or maybe provide some landscaping. One of the neighbors, Annette, she couldn't be here today. She wanted me to bring up that the previous developer had offered over $10,000 to build, to make some landscaping work in our side of Drodden. And that's what I'm here for, just voice our concerns for the neighbors, that we feel that the work being planned is not good enough for our privacy.
Jim, do you know if any of our staff have met with the neighbors about this?
No, I don't, Mayor. I know that, I think Mr. Morales was at the planning commission level, and they had 2 or 3 people at that level, and staff was there to address their concerns.
Have you met with staff members about your concerns?
Staff members?
Yeah, and the city staff.
Isn't Kendall here? I think I saw Kendall in the back.
I think it's stuff, yeah, Kendall, if you can
Kendall?
come out. if you can give your name and number to Mr. Jackson, and he can speak with you offline, he's coming out right now.
I had some communication with a councilwoman, Mrs. Sherry Reardon.
Yes,
So that's pretty much our concerns.
I think he's in the hallway, if you can speak with him, and then, maybe, Kendall, if you could report back tomorrow on where we're at with this.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Next is James Alston.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council members. My name is James Alston. I live at 215 Doris Avenue in the Clearview subdivision. And first of all, I just want to thank you all for voting to give us the curbs and gutters that this spring on Knoll Avenue and Redder Court, and also on Wolf Court, resurfacing the road up there. Basically, I'm not here to beat up on nobody, but I have a situation that's been going on for about 40 years. And it concerns the old DeAndrea property. And one while back, I had to even get a lawyer to fight this and come to the city about this flooding that I've been getting in my backyard. I have some pictures. I've also talked to my councilman, Mr. Morris, and he saw some of it, and also Mr. Trisner, Jim, and the engineer, Scott Sketchovich. And what's happened is that the city had them put a drain in, but it for some reason it was not adequate enough. And when they did put this in, the drain, the owner of the property, this property is located off of Richard Street. And what they did with the drainage, it did help some, but then when, I don't know if it's the same owner, but anyhow, what happened is that they came in and put fill in, and they built the property up 20 foot higher than the easement where we are. And now all this water is flooding me out. It caused my foundation to fall. I had to replace that last year, and that was a pretty penny. My insurance did not cover that. So what I'm looking at is I need the city to look into this person and see if he had all the permits that he should have had. Because see, when they first did this, the owner was supposed to put in a detention pond, and that never came to materialize. So this property has been a headache for 40 years for me. And I'm an old man now. And this soldier's getting tired. I wouldn't be able to sell my property the way it is now. And if you saw these pictures, I don't think any one of you in this chamber here would want to buy this property. And I put a lot of money into my property. And I wanted to give these pictures to the council, let them look at them. And if Mr. Morris would get them back to me when you're done. And I would appreciate if you would look into the matter. And I thank you all. And I do appreciate what you have done for our neighborhood. And I think you all know me. I know Ms. Quillman does. And Councilman Turk. And so I just wanted to bring this to your attention. And like I say, this soldier's old and he's tired. And after this here, I need some reconciliation for this. If you could help me, that's all I need. And I appreciate you and I thank you. You've been a good council as far as I know, and you've done a lot of things for our neighborhood. And I appreciate you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, no one else is here, no one else registered to be called to speak, and we received no other emails regarding public comments. So next, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved. Second.
It's It's been motioned and seconded to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.